Let's take that spring and hang it from the ceiling. All right, so now we have a ball attached to a vertical spring, so both the spring force and the weight force are acting on it. The release point is the positive A, positive amplitude. Negative amplitude is the maximum length that the spring will be stretched. And this 0 point here is the natural, or excuse me, this 0 point here is the equilibrium point where the mass would be hanging if it were not in motion. Positive A is the spring at its natural length. As the ball falls, it loses gravitational potential energy. The ball falling also causes the spring to stretch out, increasing the spring potential energy. When the ball is at y equals 0, it is at half of its initial height, so the gravitational potential energy is half of its initial amount. Because the gravitational potential energy equals mgy, half of y makes half ug. Look at this in the cartoon over here. Here's a question. What is our system in this instance? Well, looking at all of our energies and forces, we have gravitational potential energy, so we have the Earth included in the system. We have kinetic energy, so we have the mass of the ball included in the system, so we have the weight of the ball included in the system. Then we have spring potential energy, so we have the spring included. There is no friction, so that would be it. It would be the spring ball Earth system. When the ball is at y equals 0, the spring is half of its maximum stretch because us equals 1/2 kx squared. The square means half stretch makes a quarter as much energy. That's an important thing to remember. So if you half this x, then you have to square that half, which means this over here is going to be a quarter. Whatever you do to one side, you've got to do to the other side. See how the spring potential energy is a quarter of the total when the ball is in the center? It's kind of hard to see. You're on YouTube, so you can slow it down. Pause and all of that stuff. I can't do that. The system consisting of just the ball will have the mechanical energy consisting of only the ball's kinetic energy. Mechanical energy of the ball increases when the force doing positive work is stronger than the force doing negative work. When the ball is moving towards 0, the force pointing in the same direction as its motion is stronger than the force opposing the motion of the ball. So the net work on the ball is positive, and the ball is gaining kinetic energy. So yep, good. When the ball moves away from 0, the opposing force is stronger than the force helping the motion. So the net work is negative, and the ball will lose kinetic energy. For the ball Earth system, the only external force is the spring force, and the mechanical energy consists of the ball's kinetic energy and the ball Earth system's gravitational potential energy. It has to be gravitational potential energy of the system because kind of a small little nitpicky, not nitpicky, but precise phrase is an object can't have gravitational potential energy. Gravitational potential energy comes from a system because you have to have multiple objects for there to be this potential due to gravity. The system gains energy as the ball moves up because that is when the external spring force is in the same direction as the ball's motion, which performs positive work. The system loses energy as the ball moves down. This is when the external force performs negative work. Spring force is opposite of the motion. For the ball spring system, the only external force is the weight force, and mechanical energy consists of the ball's kinetic energy. The weight force is external because Earth is not included in our system naming. So we would say Earth is doing positive work on this system to add in energy. And that energy comes in the form of kinetic energy. The system loses energy as the ball moves up because this is when the external weight force performs negative work. This is new. So as the ball is moving up, the weight force is no longer doing positive work. Now our displacement is up and gravity is acting down. So the angle between the two is 180 degrees. Cosine of 180 degrees gives us that -1. So it's negative work. if we include everything in the system making the ball spring Earth, the mechanical energy consists of kinetic, gravitational, and spring potential. We've already talked about this, so we're good there.